Neobunny here. Now, I want to preface this video by saying that I am now a Linux guy. You know, for all my life, as long as I've been using computers, I've been using Windows. I mean, I used my parents' computers when I was little, so I don't know exactly how far back in the Windows, timeline I've been using Windows, but as far as my own personal computers, my own laptops, I've been using those since Windows 7. So Windows 7, Windows 10, I didn't do Windows 8, went from Windows 7 straight to Windows 10, basically has been my Windows history. Maybe 2003, again, I don't know. But that all changed, technically, this past Sunday, when was this Sunday? October 15th, I guess, of 2023, depending on when you're watching this. October 15th of 2023, that changed. And I didn't exactly mean for it to change that soon. There is a YouTuber out there called Some Ordinary Gamers. Maybe you've heard of him. He's been making videos since 2012, 2014, somewhere around there. But he is very much a tech guy. He talks about computers, he talks about video game consoles, and everything else tech related out there, he talks about it. Internet privacy, servers, stuff like that. And one thing he talks about computer-wise is operating systems. Now, he is very much a Linux advocate. He will say up and down that Linux is the best and Windows should just be abandoned, which is where my journey to Linux came from. This past Friday, October 13th of, again, 2023, I watched one of his videos where he basically talks about how you should get Linux instead of Windows. And it's like his own one of his little tutorials on how to install Linux Mint, a specific distribution, otherwise known as distro, of Linux. Now, he's also a big advocate for virtual machines. And I kind of forgot they existed, but because of him and his channel, I remembered their existence, so I went ahead and downloaded one, and got the newest distro of Linux Mint, the Cinnamon edition, Cinnamon version, whatever it's called. I went ahead, watched the video, and alongside his tutorial, installed Linux Mint in that virtual machine, otherwise known as VM. And I played around with it for a little bit. I did that Saturday morning. I know I said I watched the video Friday, but Saturday morning is when I actually did the install. And I messed around with it for a little bit, but there was one thing that I couldn't do, which was where the next step came in. See, one thing about virtual machines is that you can't, unless there's some virtual machine software or tech or something I don't know about, virtual machines can't recognize your computer's GPU or your graphics card. It can recognize your computer's processor, your CPU, and use that, and if I looked at the system settings and within the virtual machine, it would show my Intel i7, 8700 or whatever it is, but it did not recognize my GPU. And Saturday through the beginning of Sunday, I tried a few different distros and just constant Googling on how I could install drivers onto the virtual machine. Turns out you can't, and that whole thing where a virtual machine would be able to recognize and use your actual computer's GPU is called pass-through, and virtual machines cannot do pass-through. Now, the reason why this is important is, obviously, I am a gamer. And I run this YouTube channel, which is a gaming YouTube channel. If I want to switch over to a new operating system or OS, obviously I need to know that it'll actually be picked up by the new OS so I can properly game and therefore properly make new content. So the next solution that I came up with was to dual boot. Now, dual booting is when you have two OS systems installed on the same drive, basically. Like, yeah, the same drive, and when you boot up your computer, you can choose which one you want to boot into. In this case being my original system, Windows 10 or Linux Mint. Now, I followed a guide to a T because this was very important. If I didn't do this correctly, I could end up losing my computer, basically, because I, deleted System 32 or something. Now, obviously, I don't think I'd end up doing that specifically, but you get the idea. If you're not careful, you could mess up your computer. So I followed a guide to a T to make sure I did this dual booting thing right, because I've never done this before. And everything seemed good so far, until I tried to restart my computer. See, in order to dual boot, you need to put the second OS that you want to install on a flash drive or burn it into a CD, some kind of portable storage space thing. I have a USB in this point, 64 gig USB. So I slapped the Linux Mint ISO on there, plugged into my computer, and did the whole install that way. Well, if you take that out, then your computer should only boot into the one that it can read, which in this case would have been Windows. However, when I took the flash drive out and tried to reboot it just to test to see I could still go into Windows, I just got a black error screen. And when I plugged my USB back in, it would boot up to the selection screen, and all there would be was the Linux Mint installed to choose from. So I don't know, maybe the guide was outdated, too outdated. Maybe I thought I did something right even though I didn't. I was for sure. I paused the guide video so many times to make sure I was matching word for word, picture for picture, choice for choice. But I guess that something messed up. I messed up on my end somehow. I don't know exactly what I did, but I messed up. So I only had Linux to boot into. Seeing as it was either keep Linux, fully install Linux on there, instead of trying to dual boot it on there, just fully erase everything, basically factory reset the computer with Linux as the OS installed instead of Windows. It was either do that or just factory reset the computer and have Windows 10 be installed on there again. And seeing as how I wanted to try this anyways, at this point my whole computer was compromised, nothing could be saved, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and fully install Linux Mint on there. Which is basically where I'm at now. I mean, I recorded this in Audacity, so I have that. I have DaVinci installed, which is the video editor I use. I have Steam installed, I have OBS installed. I still have to reconfigure my mic settings and get all my overlays back in OBS, but those should all be simple. I remember what they all are. The overlays I made with an account on a website, so I just log in and boom, they'll be there, just literally transporting back over to OBS. All that will be simple. And I'm hoping to have my system up running in a couple days. I tried a little bit of Risk of Rain too, and it seemed to run okay. I'll have to test it a little more with some settings messing around I did after the fact. And I gotta install a couple other games too, just to really test the limits of what my computer can handle, but I'm hoping in a couple days I'll have everything good to go, because I want to stream Slender the Arrival's remaster when it comes out on October 18th. So yeah, that's kind of the state I'm at. I mean, by this weekend, I should definitely be good to go, if not sooner. I mean, like I said, in a couple days, Wednesday, I want to stream Slender the Arrival remaster, so within a couple days, hopefully I'll be good. But yeah, if this is a lack of content, then you know why. So this is my, that was my little story of my journey to Linux and how I'm now a Linux guy. So yeah, if you stuck around for this long listening to my dumbass story, thanks. Thank you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.